I swear Disney is using WandaVision solely to get people to watch Avengers: Age of Ultron. I don't know if this happened to anybody else, but at the end of every episode, once it gets through the credits, the screen like shrinks down, and the first thing you see is Ultron. And it's like, hey, suggested watching Avengers: Age of Ultron. Okay, it's like every episode, watch Avengers: Age of Ultron. It's hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and yes, this is another WandaVision spoiler review for episode 8, our penultimate episode. So we got one more episode left of this season, and wow, was this a good episode? I've said that a lot. I've said that a lot about all of the episodes for the most part, that they are good episodes, but this one was really good. It was entitled Previously On, was the name of the episode, but this really should have been called This Is Your Life, because that's exactly what this episode was. We got total explanation of Wanda from the point of the beginning of her life, or from the first introduction of her to the MCU, her backstory, the moments between Avengers: Age of Ultron and Civil War, as well as the moments from when she first got back, and like total context whatsoever. If you remember from the previous episode, we got a big reveal that Agatha Harkness was actually Agnes, played by Kathryn Hahn. It was a great reveal. The song Agatha All Along, I think, was trending #1 on iTunes. That's how good the song was. It was a really great reveal, and this picks up pretty much immediately afterwards. Before the episode begins, though, we do get our Agatha Harkness backstory, so to speak. She is very old. She's an old witch. And she is a witch, very much. They went straight with her original comic book backstory, where she was a witch during the Salem witch trial era in Salem in the 1600s. She was actually... They kind of changed it up a little bit, because I believe in that one she was burnt at the stake by the townsfolk, claiming she's a witch. But in this one, she was actually on trial by her coven, so other witches, for abuse of her powers, or so to speak. And she pretty much was being sentenced to death, but she was able to absorb the magic from the other witches in the covenant, killing them. And just at that point, she leaves, and we jump right into the beginning of the episode. So this definitely does give us some context to that commercial that played during episode, I want to say it was like episode 5 or 6, with the shark and the kid, and with the Yo Magic yogurt, where the shark was feeding off the kid the magic. I think that makes more sense now, considering who Agatha Harkness is and how she absorbs magic, and why she's leeching on to Wanda, so to speak. The episode really does revolve around Wanda and Agnes, because what Agatha really wants, and she explains this, is that she wants to know how Wanda's magic works, and Wanda doesn't have any clue, and that's basically because she's repressed so many emotional moments in her life. She's a mentally broken person. It's a really sad episode, and it's basically a clip show of Wanda's life, because Agatha wants to know where her powers come from, and Wanda's not telling her, so she kidnaps her sons, Billy and Tommy, and is forcing Wanda to relive these terrible moments in her life. And we finally get to see a lot of these moments that we've only heard in passing. It's basically a revolving door of different scenes. The first is we get to see Wanda as a child, back in Sokovia with her parents, and we get an idea of why the series was focusing on the sitcoms, on the television style for the first couple episodes, because that's what Wanda grew up with. Those were some of the happiest moments of her life, was just sitting there with her family watching these old American sitcoms. And then everything is destroyed when her building is bombed, and we see the Tony Stark missile, we see the Stark Industries missile sitting 3 feet from her and Pietro's face, just waiting to die. And we get that same sound and beeping red light that we see in the first commercial episode 1 for the toaster. It's the exact same thing. So all the commercials are confirmed to be just elements of her life and her trauma, just sprinkled in as breaks in this idyllic idyllic reality that she's created. So the commercials are funny, but they're just metaphors for all of her past trauma and history that she's experienced. Agatha begins to question, even after this first visit, she questions that Wanda's powers have always been a part of her. And that's something I believe it was in one of the Marvel Cinematic Universe books, that like the character books that explained each character. It was something that was released, I want to say, before Avengers Infinity War, where they actually reference Wanda Maximoff's powers not necessarily being given to her by the Mind Stone, but more so being something that was unlocked by the Mind Stone. And from the point where we see her parents' death and her and Pietro hoping that the bomb doesn't explode, we go right into the next scene, which is her going through the Hydra experiments with the Mind Stone and actually unlocking her powers, which is a really cool scene. You kind of seen it in one of like the trailers where she sees the Mind Stone and like blasts her back, and it's interesting because it does give more context to Wanda, having this power in her all along, this type of magic that still isn't named until the end of the episode. And Agatha wants to know, because for Wanda to be able to do all the stuff that she's doing, but not, with no training, is something that Agatha really points out in the first few minutes when she shows off some of the spells, the transmutation or the telekinesis or the different like control or binding spells that Agatha has in her den, her witch's den. So it's something that Agatha wants, and that makes a lot of sense, especially since she can absorb magic, it seems. And that's why she needs Wanda to relive all this stuff to really give her the answer, because Wanda doesn't know, because she spent so much time just suppressing everything down and down and down. Then from the Hydra experiments, we go right into the events after Age of Ultron wrapped up, where her first real interaction with Vision. She's at the Avengers compound. She feels alone. She feels lost. And Vision has one of the best lines, and because she's grieving, she just lost her brother. She's lost her family. It's a really great performance. And the line that Vision uses is that, like, what is grieving if not love persisting? And I think I might have paraphrased that a little bit, but it's a really great line. And for anyone who has gone through grief, who's gone through loss, I mean, we all have. It's been a rough couple years. And it's a really poignant line coming from Vision, who also explains to her he feels alone too, and that's kind of the first time they really connected in like a very meaningful way. It's something that obviously we didn't see in the movies, because you go right from Age of Ultron to the next time we see them is Captain America Civil War. So I like how the series has taken this episode to really flesh out some of these super important moments, super character developing moments that we unfortunately didn't get to see in previous episodes. After that, I believe the last stop is what happens after Wanda comes back from the snap, and we finally get a lot of context as to why Vision can't leave the Hex. What is Hayward really after? It's, the truth about Wanda breaking in the sword, which she did. She didn't break into the sword, and that's the real messed up part about Hayward, and how I really feel he is like the true villain of WandaVision, because he's such a dick. And I really want him to get his comeuppance, please God. But so she goes to Sword headquarters because she knows that Vision is there, and all Wanda wanted to do was just bury him. She didn't want to bring him back. She just wanted to bury him, and that was it. And she just wanted that closure. And it's, Hayward invites her in and shows her what they've done to Vision. They're like trying to reassemble him, or they're trying to do that, or that there's nothing of Vision left, is just his body. And the whole reason was that he wanted to give her a chance to say goodbye. I'm like, no, you should have just given up the body. You're an asshole. But I've never hated a character so much than that son of a bitch. Look, somebody kill him. Anyway, that's a bit harsh. But so she gets, they see the scientists like tearing him apart and cutting him in half, and she kind of loses it for a second. And you can't. this goes back to my theory that Hayward has this sort of disdain for superpowered beings. And I felt like he was trying to instigate her. This whole time, all of his actions have seemed to have been wanting to instigate Wanda for some reason. And there's a far-fetched theory going around, but I don't think it's true, but who knows? So she, breaks the glass, kind of like you see in the in the security camera footage when she breaks the glass and floats down there. And you would think she was going to attack him and steal his body because that's what we were led to believe. But no, she really just gets close to him, and then she says, she can't feel you. And that was something, if you remember in Infinity War, that was kind of their thing. They could feel each other rather through the Mind Stone. I don't feel anything, I just feel you. It was really heartbreaking, and she just left. She didn't take the body. She just left, and she gets in her car and she drives to Westview because she has a letter, and the letter's from Vision, and as she's driving through town, you see all the people that we've seen in previous episodes, the people in this town whose lives have been changed because of Wanda's abilities, and she goes to this plot of land, and the letter, unfortunately, and this is the really sad part, it was a letter from Vision showing the house. Vision was planning for a future with Wanda, and they were going to have a house, and they were going to just live out this life. And it's so sad. And this breaks down to how sad the series really is for Wanda. It's someone who's gone through so much heartache, so much grief, and it's not her fault. She's not maliciously trying to do any of this. It definitely wasn't malicious, and it was just a grieving person, but this person who's grieving has immense power. And out of a lot of the episodes, this is the one that really hit me as like, wow. Elizabeth Olsen is a fantastic actress. The emotion she gave off, it was so good. Catherine Hahn's fantastic too. Both of them deserve Emmy nominations. It's a streaming show, but they both deserve Emmy nominations. So at this point, that's when her powers just unleash and the hexes form. And as she's unleashing all this chaos magic, that's how the house forms, that's how everything goes immediately to black and white, that's how we get the hex. And as she's releasing all this energy, she creates a version of Vision. So that explains why Vision can't leave the hex. But what does that mean for her kids? And that's something I'm very curious of how they're going to resolve too. Because based off the post-credit scene, I have a theory of how Vision can come back officially, but we'll get to that in just a second. So that throws us right into episode 1, where Vision's welcoming Wanda home, and Wanda's in the black and white, I Love Lucy, Dick Van Dyke outfit, and Agnes got her answer. Agnes was more shocked because of who Wanda represents, I guess, in terms of the witches community. I guess that's the best way of explaining it. At this point, Wanda rushes outside and sees that Agnes is in her full Agatha Harkness costume, which is very cool. And she has both Billy and Tommy by the neck using magic, and confirms that the magic that Wanda wields is chaos magic, which is true from the comics. And she is the Scarlet Witch. And this is the first time we've gotten someone in the MCU to call her Scarlet Witch. So this is officially, she is now Scarlet Witch. There was a vision too, which I forgot to mention, when she was getting the experiment with the Mind Stone, of kind of looked like a comic book accurate Scarlet Witch, because we see the headdress and the hair. So I wonder if that's how the series is going to end, with her in full comic book accurate Scarlet Witch outfit, which would be kind of cool. But I do like her Avengers gear. I think her Avengers gear is dope, personally. It's like my favorite. But, and that's kind of where the episode ends. So we're going to get the standoff between Agatha and Wanda for this, to try to rescue the boys. And we know Vision's on his way, because he left Darcy and just flew off to try to reconnect with Wanda. And this episode was the episode was purely Wanda and Agatha's focus. It was the trip down memory lane for Wanda. We got all the big backstories that we've always waited to see. and more context to previous episodes that, things were still a mystery, but now they're not anymore. The post-credit scene is really huge because Hayward's ready to launch his secret project. He was saying, like, we were trying to get Vision working again, and all we needed was something from the source. And they were using the drone that Wanda blasted with chaos magic and uses that to power an all-white version of Vision, which is what he was in the comics when he was rebuilt the first time and it debuted in West Coast Avengers. I don't remember the actual number of the comic book, but I know it's from West Coast Avengers, where it's basically Vision's body but not his mind. So that's going to be an interesting confrontation between Wanda and this soulless version of Vision that's going to break through the hex. So here's my theory. How do you bring Vision back? Somehow you implant the version of Vision that we have in the hex that was created through Wanda's grief, and it was all the memories and stuff that she shared with him, and she somehow transfers that into the white version of Vision. Maybe he doesn't change the color, but maybe he just stays the all-white version. And that's the simplest way I think you can get Vision back into the MCU if that's what they're going to go with. It would make sense, especially if Wanda's going to be a major player in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, if you have Vision to be that sort of crux and be that sort of grounding rod for her very fragile psyche. What this means for the boys, I don't know. I do feel like they're going to survive. I don't know if they're going to be aged up to teenagers. I think they may save that for whenever they decide what they're going to do with them in Young Avengers, if they're going to recast the kids playing them, which probably makes the most sense if you're going to go for like a late teens, early 20s version of Billy and Tommy. Maybe they'll be reborn into different kids, so to speak, like they did in the comics, and that's how they brought them back in after the events of House of M. So I'm not 100% sure on the boys, but I do have a theory that's how you can get Vision back. Hayward, God, he's such a dick. I still have a gut feeling that there is going to be some sort of post-credit scene with Nightmare or Mephisto involving Doctor Strange maybe. What if, and this is random speculation, what if Hayward is possessed by Nightmare or Mephisto and he's used all this to just manipulate Wanda to go crazier and crazier? Because it doesn't make sense for someone in his position knowing all the crazy shit that's happened in the world over the course of the last 10 years, I want to say. I'm trying to think MCU timeline. Probably like close to 10, 15 years because we're in 2023. And the timeline, you wouldn't go instigating someone with that much power. Would you? If you were a sane individual and weren't some metaphorical evil being trying to throw the world into chaos. You wouldn't do anything like that. Or you're just an idiot, which he might be. Who knows if that might be the reveal? I still feel like we're going to get some sort of big supernatural baddie reveal that is going to play a factor in not only Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but also Spider-Man No Way Home, which is the new title for the third Spider-Man movie. If you haven't heard, Spider-Man No Way Home. We didn't get any resolution to what happened to Monica at the end of the last episode. I'm assuming she's going to play a role in the finale. Hopefully, because she just got her powers and she just disappeared. And we got no resolution with the Evan Peters thing. So there's a lot of stuff that they've got to kind of resolve in the final episode coming out next week. And it's going to be interesting and exciting to see where they go with that. I think this is probably my favorite episode of the series. It's got really great acting from Elizabeth Olsen and Kathryn Hahn in this episode. Elizabeth Olsen kills it. It's like the emotion she gives. It's like, give that woman a nomination at least, because damn, I felt it. If this is what the Disney Plus series are designed to do, to give these characters who don't get a ton of screen time in the big movie, who you want to flesh out to make even stronger characters for the future, bravo, keep going with it. Let's get them all going, because if you do it right and you do it like this, where you feel it, hell yeah, I am cool with that. this is a good ass episode. I was very happy with it. I really hope the finale is at least an hour because this was the longest episode, about 45 minutes. I want to say was the episode length. I really feel like the finale is going to be an hour because you gotta wrap up all these little loose ends. You gotta wrap them up because the next time we're gonna touch base on this is like next year with Multiverse of Madness, or if we get a little stinger in Spider-Man, No Way Home, that's in December, that's on Christmas. So we'll see. But overall, yes, episode 8 was fantastic. If you like Wanda Maximoff as a character, this is the episode that really makes you appreciate and feel for her as a character. And I'm just so glad that we're gonna, like, they're doing this weird multiverse trilogy between WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I think it's a smart play combining these things together like that, and this has really got me excited for what's coming. I mean, I was nervous with, where were they going to go after Endgame with stuff like that? Like, I was kind of nervous. I'm like, so the first one's Black Widow, which is kind of like a prequel, and then you got Eternals, and then Shang-Chi, and then you get Doctor Strange, which seems like that should be the first big one if you're setting up the next couple years. But having WandaVision go first was a happy accident. It wasn't originally supposed to be first. It was supposed to be Falcon and Winter Soldier, but which I'm excited for that too. But this series, I actually like it a lot more than Mandalorian. I'm not gonna lie, it's really good. I'm so happy with it. So I'm probably going to rewatch it once the finale hits. I'm probably just going to do a binge of all the episodes because there's so much stuff I missed. Like, are we going to figure out what happened to the beekeeper guy? Was the beekeeper Evan Peters? And Agnes just changed him up to make him look Pietro? Who knows? That might be interesting too. Are we going to get the Doctor Strange cameo? Because I think that might still be a thing. I don't know, but I'm excited for next Friday. All right, so there you have it. That is my spoiler review for episode 8 of WandaVision. I am so pumped for the finale coming up this Friday. Hopefully you've seen it. If not, you just sat through me completely spoil episode 8. But please go watch episode 8 if you haven't seen it. But watch the entire series. The series is fantastic. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you do enjoy this and appreciate it. Comment down below and let me know your thoughts on it. I appreciate you checking this out. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate to people subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. I do try to put a lot of effort into these videos, and I hope you enjoy it. You can follow me on all the social media listed at the end of the video. Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.